Update on the latest news, sports, business and entertainment at 6:20 p.m. EDT Pussy Riot protest. Pussy Riot claims on-field protest at World Cup final. Moscow, AP, Russian protest group and Pussy Riot has claimed responsibility for 4 people who ran onto the field and disrupted the World Cup final. The punk band says in a statement posted on their Twitter feed Sunday that the disruption was a protest. The 4 people who charged onto the field in the 52nd minute simultaneously in what appeared to be old-fashioned police uniforms were tackled to the ground by stewards, but not before one shared a high-five with a French player in the center circle. Pussy Riot issued a list of demands to the Russian government on Twitter, including to free political prisoners, and illegal arrests at protests, and to allow political competition in the country. Pussy Riot rose to global prominence with their daring outdoor performances critical of Russia President Vladimir Putin. WCUP France wins second World Cup title, beats Croatia 4-2. Moscow, AP, France won its second World Cup title by beating Croatia 4-2 on Sunday in a match briefly interrupted by an on-field protest during the second half that Russian punk band Pussy Riot later took credit for. Teenage forward Kylian Mbappé scored his 4th goal of the tournament for France and the team's 4th in the 65th minute, about 12 minutes after play resumed at the Luzhniki Stadium. Mbappé, who is 19, is only the second teenager to score in a World Cup final. Pelé was 17 when he scored 2 goals for Brazil in the 1958 final. Antoine Griezmann and Paul Pogba also scored for the 1998 champions. Ivan Perisic and Mario Mandzukic scored for Croatia. Mandzukic also scored an own goal, giving France the lead in the 18th minute. Pussy Riot, a Russian punk rock group that rose to global prominence with their daring outdoor performances critical of Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2012, claimed responsibility for the second-half disruption on Twitter. More AP World Cup coverage, https://appnews.com/tag/World Cup Trump the latest supporters cheer as Trump nears Helsinki Hotel Turnberry, Scotland. AP, several dozen supporters of President Donald Trump, many waving American flags and sporting "Make America Great Again" caps, have cheered as the U.S. leader neared his hotel in Helsinki before his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Dozens of police cordoned off a small area Sunday night at an intersection along the route of Trump's motorcade near the posh waterfront hotel where he and his wife, Melania, are staying. The Trump fans, several from the Truth and anti-immigration party, said they wanted to make a show of support in a country where many people have criticized his policies. A few scattered boos rang out from across the road. Trump and his wife waved at the supporters, 2 of whom held up a handwritten banner that read, "God bless D." Associated Press investigation into one of the Kushner-Cuz largest residential buildings in New York City reveals what some residents say was a campaign that used noisy construction to push tenants out of rent-stabilized apartments and bring high-paying condo buyers in. More than a dozen tenants told the AP they were subjected to relentless banging, drilling, dust on rats. In 3 years, more than 250 rent-stabilized apartments, 75% of the building, were either emptied or sold as the Kushner-Cuz was converting the building to luxury condos. Those sales so far have totaled more than $155 million. The firm was run for much of that time by current presidential advisor Jared Kushner. The company says that it didn't harass tenants and that complaints were immediately addressed. Britain Brexit. UK's Theresa May, Trump told me to sue the EU over Brexit. London, AP, British Prime Minister Theresa May says that President Donald Trump advised her to sue the European Union in the negotiations over Britain's exit from the bloc. Trump told reporters Friday at a joint press conference with May that he had given the British leader a suggestion that she found too brutal. Asked on the BBC's Andrew Marr show on Sunday what that suggestion was, May said, "He told me I should sue the EU. Not go into negotiation, sue them." She added, "What the president also said at that press conference was, don't walk away. Don't walk away from the negotiations. Then you're stuck." AP-US police shooting Chicago. The latest video, Chicago man ran away, reached to waist. Chicago. AP, video released from an officer's body-worn camera shows a black man killed by Chicago police had a gun in a holster at his hip and was running away and reaching toward his waist when he was shot multiple times. Police released the 30-second clip without sound Sunday, a day after 37-year-old Aretha Augustus was killed in a shooting that set off violent protests. The video shows 4 officers approaching Augustus outside a store. An officer points to Augustus' waist and he backs away. 3 officers try to grab his arms and he tries to get away, backing into a police cruiser as his shirt flies up and shows the gun. The footage pauses and zooms in on the weapon. He then runs away and into the street as a police SUV drives up. He spins and darts between the SUV and the police cruiser as he reaches toward his waist. Officers shot. Missouri. The latest newspaper says suspect in cop shootings is dead. Kansas City, Missouri. AP, the Kansas City Star reports that police have killed the suspect in the shooting of 3 officers. The newspaper reports that the suspect came out of a home where he had barricaded himself inside Sunday afternoon and exchanged gunfire with police, who killed him. Police say the suspect shot 2 officers earlier Sunday while they were working an undercover operation at a motel less than 2 miles (3.2 kilometers) from Kauffman Stadium, where the Kansas City Royals play. The suspect then fled in a vehicle with another person, who was arrested when officers found the vehicle. The Kansas City Star reports that the suspect shot the 3rd officer in the arm while the suspect was holed up in the house. All 3 officers are expected to live. This item has been corrected to fix the spelling of Kauffman Stadium, which had been misspelled Kauffman Stadium. Syria. Syrian government targets rebels near Israel-occupied Golan. Beirut. AP, activists say Syrian government missiles have struck a rebel-held area near the frontier with the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights in the latest phase in an offensive to end the insurgents' presence in southern Syria. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says government forces fired more than 800 missiles at an area between northern Daraa and Kenitra countryside, about 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles from the frontier with the Golan Heights. The government's push against the last pockets of the armed opposition, including an area controlled by militants affiliated with the Islamic State group, comes after it secured control of most of Daraa province in an offensive that began in June. In a deal to seal the government's victory, hundreds of rebels are to be evacuated to opposition-held Idlib. WCUP. The latest, embankment near stadium in Volgograd gives way. Moscow. AP, some of Russia's World Cup legacy is already falling down. A large earth embankment separating the World Cup stadium in Volgograd from the Volga River gave way, sending tons of dirt sliding into a road on the day the final was played in Moscow. Heavy rain contributed to the sudden collapse, with footage posted online showing torrents of water washing away the sandy earth in the embankment. There were no reports of injuries. The 45,000-seat Volgograd Arena was one of 12 World Cup stadiums across Russia and hosted 4 games in the group stage. The city's mayor had expressed pride in the embankment and the new road along the river bank, saying it would form a key part of the World Cup legacy for the city by easing traffic jams. Turkey coup anniversary. Turkey marked second anniversary of thwarting violent coup. Istanbul. AP, Turkey is commemorating the second anniversary of thwarting a coup against the Turkish president and the government. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and top officials attended a Quran recitation in Ankara on Sunday, kicking off a series of events with prayers. On July 15, 2016, factions within the military used tanks, warplanes and helicopters to try to overthrow Erdogan. Clashes took place in Istanbul, Ankara and Marmaris, where Erdogan was on holiday. Turkey has blamed US-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen for the coup attempt, but he rejects the accusations. Ali Urbaz, the head of religious affairs, prayed for the 250 people killed and nearly 2,200 wounded, saying they stood against traitors who are the pawns of foreign powers. Erdogan recited verses in Arabic. At least 35 alleged coup plotters were also killed. Copyright 2018 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, written or redistributed.